Powered Parachute Handbook 11.3 Approaches and Landings. Let's delve into the intricate concept of a stabilized approach in powered parachute landings. Picture this. A scenario where the pilot masterfully establishes and sustains a consistent angle glide path toward a predetermined point on the landing runway. This, my friends, is what we refer to as a stabilized approach, a pinnacle of pilot finesse. As our powered parachute descends on the final approach, gracefully navigating towards a spot on the ground we affectionately term the aiming point, we find ourselves in a delicate dance of precision. The aiming point, stationary and unwavering, represents the hypothetical touchdown spot if our descent was unadorned with the elegant maneuvers of roundout and flare. Now, let's talk about the horizon, that ever-constant companion in our aerial journey. In a perfect world of a constant angle glide path, the distance between the horizon and our aiming point stays unwavering. But beware, my aviator companions, should this equilibrium falter, adjustments are in order. An increase hints at a more distant touchdown point, while a decrease signals a closer embrace with the runway. As we roll into the heart of a stabilized approach, envision the runway as a canvas and the aiming point as the brushstroke where we want our masterpiece to unfold. Adjusting the power becomes our artistic expression, crafting a descent directly towards the aiming point. With this setup, we free ourselves to indulge in the art of perception, scanning from the aiming point to the horizon, trees, and every detail along the runway. And now, the choreography of corrections begins. If the aiming point falls short of our desires, we increase power, a smooth, orchestrated movement resulting in a shallower glide path. This, my colleagues, brings the aiming point closer to the coveted touchdown zone. Conversely, if the aiming point extends its reach down the runway, we execute a dance of decreased power, crafting a steeper descent with poise. As our powered parachute inches closer to the runway, corrections may demand more finesse, avoiding the pitfalls of an unstabilized approach. Picture yourself in this aerial ballet, gracefully adjusting your movements to maintain the harmony of a stabilized approach. Yet, my fellow aviators, heed the cautionary tales of common errors. Inadequate wind drift correction, improper turns onto the final approach, or the siren call of an unstabilized approach, pitfalls abound. Picture these missteps as an offbeat in our symphony of flight. Now, let's unravel the intricate dance of go-arounds, or as some may call them, rejected landings, in the realm of powered parachute aviation. Brace yourselves, my fellow aviators, for this maneuver is not merely reserved for emergencies but is a ballet of control and decision-making in various situations. Picture this. You're on final approach, the runway beckoning below, but conditions aren't playing nice. It might be unexpected hazards, air traffic control directives, or the whims of wind shear disrupting your serene descent. Fear not, for the go-around is your graceful exit from such predicaments. A go-around is not a symbol of failure, it's a strategic retreat, a decision-making masterpiece. It's a maneuver that demands practice and finesse, not just a last-minute escape route. Your flight instructor will, from the outset, instill in you the wisdom that a go-around is a sensible alternative at any stage of your approach or landing. But, my aviator companions, the art of go-arounds requires swift recognition of the need. The earlier you acknowledge unfavorable conditions, the safer your go-around shall be. Delay, the nemesis of this maneuver, often springs from the unwarranted optimism of a safe landing or the misplaced pride that admitting a re-attempt is a concession of failure. Now, let's delve into the three cardinal principles of a go-around. Power, power, and, you guessed it, power. The moment you decide on a go-around, embrace that throttle with conviction. Full power, smoothly and promptly applied, becomes your trusted ally until you reclaim your pattern altitude. There's no room for half measures, partial power won't suffice. Errors in this aerial ballet are plenty. Failing to recognize the need for a go-around, indecision casting its shadow, delays in taking action, timid power applications, and overlooking the crucial compensation for torque and P-factor. And now, let's shift our focus to the winds, those unseen maestros of the sky. Powered parachute flying, a sport of low winds, demands a judicious evaluation of upper air winds. Turbulence during your final approach requires a strategic approach. Keep the power alive to mitigate potential down gusts and stave off an unwelcome excessive descent rate. In the grand symphony of powered parachute aviation, the go-around is your well-practiced note, a harmonious response to the unpredictable cadence of the skies. Fly on, my aviator comrades, and may your go-arounds be as polished as the wings you command. Now, we delve into the intricacies of emergency approaches and landings, particularly the simulated ones. Picture this scenario. Dual flights, an instructor, and the sudden call for a simulated emergency landing. It's not just a maneuver. It's a comprehensive exercise designed to hone a pilot's accuracy, judgment, and decision-making when faced with minimal or no power. Now, during these simulated emergencies, pilots must factor in various elements: altitude, obstructions, wind direction, and more. The instructor triggers these scenarios at any moment, requiring swift, calculated decisions. The higher the altitude, the more time our pilot has to assess and select a suitable landing zone. The maneuvers shift from gliding to a power-off approach, culminating in a normal traffic pattern altitude for the chosen landing area. As we navigate through this, it's crucial for our pilots to master wind assessment. Observation becomes an art: windsocks, smoke, dust, all these elements revealing the wind's secrets. And once a landing spot is chosen, the student pilot takes charge, planning and executing until the instructor calls off the simulated emergency. Errors become lessons, opportunities for correction and improvement. Now, a key aspect: if a student realizes the initially chosen field spells disaster, a last-minute change to a more favorable one is permitted. However, the risks of such decisions, especially at low altitudes, are emphasized and explained thoroughly by the instructor. Let's take a visual aid here on the screen. It emphasizes the importance of remaining over the intended landing area. Once selected, never allow the landing zone to be behind the pilot or the aircraft. Transitioning into engine management during these simulations, the warm and cleared engine takes center stage. Control of the throttle becomes paramount, with absolute clarity on who commands it to avoid potential misunderstandings. Moving forward, each simulated emergency landing approach should conclude promptly after determining the feasibility of a safe landing. Adhering to altitude restrictions and maintaining courtesy to those on the ground is non-negotiable. Now, let's explore emergency cockpit procedures and the critical checklist. Pilots, be vigilant about fuel quantity and ignition switch positions. Habits formed during training can prevent real emergencies. Expanding beyond simulated engine failures, our pilots are equipped to handle various emergencies: fire, electrical malfunctions, severe weather conditions, and more. These scenarios are not just theoretical. They are explained, demonstrated, and practiced. Now, let's delve into faulty approaches and landings. Figure 1111 illustrates the corrective methods for a low final approach. Imagine a scenario where insufficient power or misjudged wind velocity results in a powered parachute well below the proper final approach path. Power application becomes crucial to intercept the correct approach path. We address high final approaches. Here, power adjustments are key to maintaining a stabilized approach, ensuring a descent rate that avoids excessive sink close to the surface. Lastly, depicts a high round-out situation. Flaring too high above the ground poses challenges, and careful throttle management is essential to prevent a forward surge. A timely go-around is recommended if uncertainties persist. In summary, our discussion today covered the nuances of simulated emergency landings, wind assessment, engine management, emergency cockpit procedures, and addressing faulty approaches and landings. It's not just about maneuvering. It's about making decisions under pressure, and that, my friends, is the art of piloting.